Killarney, home to the daunting Rally of the Lakes, and this week, home to the Killarney Historic Rally. A region abundant in breathtaking views, prestigious mountains and placid lakes, it's the ultimate backdrop for Irish Tarmac's historic curtain raiser. 7 times special stages rich in rally heritage will crown this year's Killarney Master and indicate the hare to chase in the 2023 Irish Tarmac Historic Championship. The mystifying Malls Gap hosts an iconic race from Killarney town to Kenmare. Crews skirt the majestic Muckross Lake with nervous excitement on approach to the first 30-second countdown. Galway's Bridge, Ladies' View, Lisconnell Lock, through the gap before dipping into descent towards Kenmare. A rapid test of skill and bravery that sets the scene for the fearsome Ballochbeamach Gap. An altogether different task that demands even finer margins between the rocky apexes and the desolate drops. The race will continue at the foothills of Carntool, Ireland's highest peak, with twisting roads of Kilgoblin separating the crews from the safety of service. Welcome to Killarney's winter rally that can warm any petrolhead's soul. Historic by name and historic by nature. Is there a better place in the world to stage an historic championship opener? We've yet to find one. This is Killarney Historic, Kerry's early Christmas gift to Irish rallying.
Welcome to the 2022 Killarney Historic Rally Preview Show, Round 1 of Synergy Motorsport Engineering's Historic Irish Tarmac Championship. Thanks to all the championship sponsors for their support ahead of a new season. It is great to have you all on board. Now, sit back and enjoy chats with our reigning historic champion and a 5-time World Rally winner who has close links to Killarney. But first, let's find out about this year's historic opener. I'm pleased to welcome Kerry Sean Moriarty as the first guest on our Killarney Historic Preview. Sean, I know you've been busy promoting the rally in recent weeks. We're into Rally Week now. Is the excitement starting to build in the town?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the final countdown for the last rally of the year, and what a rally it's going to be. The Rentokil Initial Killarney Historic Rally, always a firm favourite with the fans and always a firm favourite with the drivers. That's reflected in the 200 plus entry that the club have received for the rally. But no, it's the end of the year, and there's something very special about coming to Killarney, coming to Malls Gap and the likes of Ballochbeamach in the winter time. It's just part of the Christmas in Killarney festival, and it's the end of the season for motorsport and the official start of the festive season in Killarney. What more could you ask for? It'll be a fantastic line of rally cars. Look at what's coming. I mean, number 1 on the road, Craig Breen and Paul Nagle in the ex-Frank Maher Ford Sierra Cosworth. That's a special car. That'll bring back a lot of memories for a lot of people. Frank was Craig's childhood hero growing up. It must be a very special honour for our World Championship stars to get the opportunity to drive that car in an iconic event on iconic roads in an iconic car. It's ticking all the boxes, and it's going to be something special to see and hear that car climbing the mountain on Saturday morning up as they make their way up towards Malls Gap. The first of 3 runs, of course, over the famous stage, never before been done in Killarney. 3 attempts at the gap. That's going to be special as well in its own way. And if you recall, this time last year, the rally kind of finished around mid-afternoon, and we were driving off the Kerry Lake stage and heading back to town and going, what are we going to do now? And there's the answer. We've got a third run over the gap this year. That's going to be a sting in the tail, but it's going to be a very special way to finish the rally.
Definitely. We're rolling back the years this time around, but obviously Killarney's so well known for its iconic stages. I'm hoping that you can give us an idea of what some of those stages are like for the crews. And first up, Malls Gap, it doesn't really get more famous like that, but in terms of from a driving point of view, what does that road and what does that stage entail?
I'm sure it's like driving in the most famous arena in Irish motorsport. The climb from Torque Waterfall, where the stage starts, up along the edge of the lakes, through the famous tunnel, the the narrow bends, known locally as the round of beef, and you're going left and right as you climb through the valley up to Derry Cunningham Church, the famous square right at the narrow bridge. Up along further, you're to Ladies View, one of the most iconic tourist scenes in the whole of Killarney. Further up along, you've got the old abandoned pub on the right hand side with the Loch Cusanog on the left, and you keep climbing. You're still climbing. It's hard to believe, but you're still climbing up to the chicane at Kissan's farm. The road widens up from there. I suppose it gets fairly high speed up to the gap itself. The gap itself is just a theatre. There's thousands of fans there. That's very, very, very special to be, just be part of that atmosphere in itself and witness the crowds up there. Turning left this time and the run down to Kinmare. That's very quick descent into the heritage town of Kinmare. But it doesn't get better than that. It's Spa-Francorchamps. It's Knockalla in the winter. It's Monte Carlo. It's the whole lot mixed together. If you're not there, you are missing something.
Yeah, it's definitely a special one. And Ballacbeama's next. It's probably one of my favorite stages in terms of the photos and the videos that come out of that. It's something else as well.
Yeah, I remember years ago I brought a few tourists from London on what we call the shortcut from Kinmare to Cahersiveen, and that cuts through Ballacbeama Gap, and they likened the road up there to something you'd see out of the Game of Thrones. The scenery is unbelievable up there. Ballacbeama is kind of the Irish translation roughly is the narrow pass. It's exactly that up near the summit. There's very little room for error. But it's an amazing climb. It's an amazing run through the valley as you make your way to the summit. From the summit down can be a bit hairy enough. It's a lot of sudden sharp corners. But it's been part of Irish motorsport history since the turn of the last century, would you believe? And I'm talking like back in the day when the first motor cars ever came to Ireland in the early 1900s. Part of the challenge was who could be the first driver to bring a car over Ballacbeama, and they've been doing it ever since. It became an iconic part of the Circuit of Ireland rally. It's an iconic part of a lot of the major cycling tours that come to Kerry. So very special place, yeah, and very kind of revered as much as Moll's Gap. It's one of the famous roads, and if you're ever doing the top 10 stages in Irish rallying, Ballacbeama would surely make the cut.
Yeah, it definitely would, and I think in my mind you can nearly deceptively think that Killarney Historics is a festival event or whatever, but when you have those two stages coming at you first thing on Saturday, they're some of the toughest, most challenging, fastest, narrowest, even the terrain up through Ballacbeama. It's some challenge for an event like Killarney Historic. The third stage then, Kilgoblet, how does that one differ?
Kilgoblet, it's a version of Shannon. It's a version of Churchtown. It has had several different names over the years. This is kind of more typical mid-Kerry farmyard roads, long straights into square junctions. There's an awful lot of junctions on that stage. Short and sharp, much quicker than the Gap and Ballacbeama. No real climb in it. It's on all more or less flat terrain, but it's an ideal stage to bring the rally back to the Liebherr container crane factory in Fossa, where the official service halt is. So traditionally you'd either use Cara Lake or Kilgoblet, but this year, just to shake things up, skip Cara Lake, go straight into Kilgoblet. Back in the day, when you're talking about real old Rally de Lakes, wintertime rallies, it would have been known as Churchtown. Often run in the dark back then. Bertie Fisher, I think, lost the Rally de Lakes on a dark version of the stage in late 80s, early 90s in the BMW M3 and so on. So it mightn't have the same reverence as Moll's Gap and Ballacbeama, but it's an essential part of Killarney rallies for the last 40 years or more.
Yeah, it's the heritage is there, and again, three completely different stages to test the crews. Sean, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to this weekend?
I think it's very much the cars as much as the drivers are the stars of this rally, and we've already mentioned Craig Breen's Ford Sierra Cosworth, the ex Frank Maher car. That's going to be a very special sight to see. But I think as a young lad growing up in Kerry, or like going back into the late 80s and early 90s, and showing my age now, but it doesn't matter. I always remember the BMW M3s. You're talking Austin McCabe, Bertie Fisher, the Russian brothers. And I think there's something like 7 or 8 different BMW M3s entered in this year's rally. A couple of examples would be Garrett Lloyd, a Welsh driver that always goes very well in Killarney. Michael Cullen, better known for racing in Mondello Park, has a brand new BMW M3 built out of the Mats van den Brand stable in Holland. It's just going to be Donna Kelly, of course, front runner in Irish rallying, but back historic rallying in the BMW as well. There's something very special about the sound, the echo of a BMW engine reverberating off the valley, off the mountains, especially in the crisp early morning air. I think that's going to be very special just to listen to the sound of music as those E30 M3s climb their way up towards Miles Gap very early next Saturday morning.
Yeah, we got a taste of that last year, and I'm looking forward to that this weekend. And the legacy as well. We've a legacy in Alan Ring near the front too. Just all these different sounds and spectacles. It's going to be brilliant.
But it's taken us back into the history of Irish motorsport, and that's kind of where we want to be. It is a celebration of the sports heritage, the sports culture. We all remember, we've different reasons for remembering, whether it's the Ford Sierra Cosworth or the Subaru legacies you mentioned, a fleet of Ford Escort Mark IIs. Every one of these can take you back to a different era of Irish motorsport from the 1970s. Like this last time the Circuit of Ireland came to Killarney was in 1983, and that was probably predominantly the last era of the Mark II, if you like, in international rally. I know the Mark II has lived forever in Ireland, but you had the likes of Billy Coleman driving the Mark II back in 1983. There was the start of the Manta and the Scorner 400s, the start of the Audi Quattros, things like that. So you're taking yourself all the way back to that kind of moment in history or over the last couple of years, and that's part of the Killarney Historic Rally, is to relive this fantastic history that the rally has been part of over the years.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Sean, for giving us the taste of what to look forward to this weekend. It's going to be brilliant.
I'm going to give you another taste here, and I'm going to show off the full colour programme that's available. This comes complete with a 2023 rally calendar, a poster of the BMWs and the Ford Sierra Cosworths that we're missing, and a full roughly 80 pages of articles, stories, a couple contributed by yourself, of course, Adam. Thanks very much. And just a nice little souvenir of the event. But remember, if spectators are coming to town to spectate the rally, the revenue that comes from buying and selling these programs goes back into the club, goes back into the event to keep these kind of events on the road. So if you are in town, they're available in most shops around the town. Please buy a program. It's your way of, if you like, it's your admission ticket. It's a way of paying in to see what's going to be a very spectacular event.
Short 4 right, 100, and 3 right plus at the sign, go, 150, turn 7 left at the gap, well done boy, well done, and caution on crest into 5 left, don't cut it late, 80, you have a 1 right over crest, in, go, 60, short 4 right at the bottom, you'll see it, and a late 4 right, late 4, into 2 left kink, 80, 3 right plus at the bottom, 200. Stay right on crest into slowing, 3 left, keep in, 60 over small crest, 4 left at the bush.
It's brilliant to have our reigning historic Irish Tarmac rally champion with us, Neil Williams. Thanks for coming along. It's been a few months now since your championship win on the Ulster Rally. Has the emotions of that sunk in yet?
Yeah, well, good evening, Adam. It's great to see you again. Obviously, it's been a long time, like you said. But yeah, obviously, it sunk in pretty quick after we'd managed it that weekend. Been on a high since then, really, to be honest with you. We managed it doing sort of 5 rallies, 6 were to count. We were lucky that the way it went, really, and it worked out great. It just feels like such a long time since we finished the year, which was sort of what is it, end of August, you know.
Yeah, it was brilliant to see you and Anthony come to the stop line, knowing that both of you had sailed your own championships together as well. How big a part was Anthony to your season?
Yeah, well, obviously we've been together now for nearly just over 5 years, and we get on great. We get on fantastic in and out the car. We've made a good friendship since we started. But yeah, he obviously managed his championship on the first night. When we got to the end on the Friday night in Ulster, things got very emotional in the car. Anthony's had a very tough year at home. So there's a bit of a pressure release for him, but obviously I knew I had another job to do on the next day, you know. So I went to Ulster knowing what I had to do. I'd worked it out what we had to do, sort of mathematically. I just wasn't going to get involved really in any big fights, really, for whatever. But it's a shame that Duncan was the closest guy to me towards the end, then, and he didn't get a finish. So we would have liked to have a bit of a scrap towards the end, like. But yeah, I mean, as you say, every rally crew can't do it without each other. Like me and Anthony do a good job. We've learned how each other work in and out of the car, like I say, and it works well. And it proved it this year. You know?
Yeah, it's nice to see a partnership work so well, and to have such kind words to say about each other. I think that's just part of rallying, the special friendships that a driving partnership can bring as well. You mentioned Duncan Williams battling against you through the season, but I think there's 4, 5, or 6 of you guys going into the final rounds still in with the shots. In general, it was a brilliant season, and you must be happy with your own driving through that as well to win it.
Yeah. I mean, we had a good year. We started in Killarney like last year. I didn't have a fantastic rally that weekend, but we got the maximum points we needed. We went to West Cork. We took every round as it came. We were on the pace there. We went well there. Went to Killarney hoping I could do the business again, but had a spin on the first stage on a stall. Blah blah blah. It cost me nearly 40 seconds, so that's my rally sort of gone there. So the best I could do there was third. We went to Cork 20 and we won the historics there again, and we did the same in Ulster. You know, I looked at the year as obviously guys were close and behind and whatever and ahead of me throughout the year, and it worked in my favour because I couldn't do Donegal this year for other reasons. And I could see the guys like Luke and Craig were very, very sort of on the case then with my points. And I think Musgrave was pretty on up there as well at that time. And I think he decided not to do Donegal. And then when I saw Luke fail to finish, well, I thought then, well, this championship could be still back on if I did the rest of the rounds that were remaining. I know everybody likes to look at the championship and try and get it sealed and done quite early. But obviously we had to use the remaining rounds that were left because, like I said, I'd missed a few rounds beginning of the year as well. So I had to hopefully to get finishes on each rally that was left then. So, but yeah, obviously it worked out, and we're happy with the pace. We had some good fights in each rally with different guys. You know, it was good. It worked out well.
Yeah, no, it was a brilliant year, and in Ireland we're used to seeing the Mark II escorts and modifieds and how quick they can be at the front of rallies, but I think this year has been an eye opener to witnessing how fast all you guys are going as well. In your years in historics, have you noticed that now that the level of competition's increasing?
Yeah, it's always been more of a sort of competition over my side of the water because obviously there's a British Championship here, more sort of focused on gravel really. I went from modified car in Ireland, and I went to a historic car in 2013 then. Never driven on gravel in my life before, and we did 3 or 4 rallies, and I think the best I finished was 8th or 9th overall, sort of a minute and a half behind the top guys. It's just couldn't get anywhere near them, you know. So there's big competition over here in historics. But yeah, I have noticed in Ireland since I've been coming back to Ireland, I had a big break for a few years. I came back in 2019 with the historic car. And yeah, it's increased since then every year on year. And obviously this year's Killarney shows again, historic event that it's got a huge entry, historics, and it's stronger and stronger, you know.
Yeah, all eyes are on Killarney now, and the entry list as well has shown the interest levels, and it's going to be probably one of the most competitive Killarney historics there has been. But you've been to Killarney twice in the last 12 months. What's your thoughts on the rally, the area, the stages? Is it ideal Tarmac rallying?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, every rally has got its own sort of specialist stage or stages, or the specialist guys, the local guys to each area. And Killarney's no different. I mean, you've got Moll's Gap, you've got Ballabima, which they always tend to run on the big lakes or the historic, you know. Yes, we've been over it twice this year now. You know, and you know, it's just been a case of sort of trying the best I could to get over the gap, and it's just, I don't know what it is about the gap. We were talking about this the other day. We did the gap the second time over in the lakes, and I could swear I could have put my house on it, but I'd done it in 10, 15 seconds faster. Looked at the clock, and it was only 2. I was like, I couldn't believe it because it felt so much quicker. But yeah, you get every like I said, every event's got a specialist stage really, and Moll's is the rally in my eyes, because if you lose too much time on Moll's, you won't get it back on the shorter stages, you know.
Yeah. And last year in the historics, I remember talking to you afterwards, and you had a tricky opening loop, but you kept going, and I think you ended up with top historic points that time around. What are you hoping for this year?
Yeah, we had a bit of a tough start to it last year. There was a bit of a delay at the start, I think, because there was so many crowds trying to park up on the gap. We were about a 40-minute delay, and I'd done my tyre pressures and got everything warm and whatever. And anyway, long story short, I dropped them a bit too much, and they just didn't kick in. So the car was understeering for the first loop anyway, the first 2 stages definitely. But yeah, I mean, we had best, as you say, we had the best result for the championship, but not my best result. But I've finished 3rd and 4th there before, and we were 6th we were last year. Don't get me wrong, the strong results. But I was hoping for better. But hopefully this year now, hopefully the weather will be nice, be on all our sides, and we can have a bit of a go, you know. But we just got to take it as it comes. If it's going to be raining, pouring, whatever, just got to take it on the chin and just hopefully it's the right man on the right tire at the right time, you know.
Yeah. There's obviously a nice variety of cars in the top 10 with Craig Breen and Alan Ring, and the legacy as well is a bit different. But you have your Ford Escorts there, some of the guys you're battling with last year, and Eamon Kelly, the junior British rally champion, is there too, and Catherine McCourt, who was doing the international rallies in the Tarmac Championship last year. Are you looking forward with battling against those guys?
Yeah, obviously it's a tall order to be sort of ahead of the 4-wheel drive guys, and obviously Craig's a professional driver. You've got to give that to those guys before you start, you know. But I think if it's dry and everything clicks, well, it could be one of the Escorts, any one of us battling the top guys, you know. Catherine was going very hard last year, as he always does in the historics. And Eamon, obviously, first time last year driving an Escort, and he finished well last year. It'll be interesting to see. There'll be a lot of guys. There's a couple of new boys that got cars from over here as well, coming over this year for the first time. That'll be interesting to see who does what there. But yeah, there's lots of competition. Obviously, and all the regulars that do it all the time, you know.
Yeah. The suspense is killing us all now talking about it. So thanks for joining us, Neil. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Killarney, and hopefully it'll be another great year for the historic Irish Rally Championship.
Yeah, well, that's great. There's fingers crossed for us all. We have a good, clean, and safe run, and we enjoy it. And it'd be nice to see everybody again. It's been such a long time. It's been a big break.
Early, flat, 2 right, 60, 2 left, and early, 2 right, far, 80, opens, 30, care, 3 left minus, tightens, narrows, and right 40, crest, 2 left, 3 right short, clip, and 3 left, and flat, 2 right maybe, and 2 left, minus 40, slow 2 right, minus nips, and left, and long 1 right for 90, Clare tightens 3 minus over crest, stop 30, late, 4 right minus.
Paul, thanks for joining us on our preview for this year's Killarney Historic Rally. How are you keeping?
I'm keeping very well. Looking forward to the rally, obviously, in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah. And how's retirement treating you?
Not too bad. It's only a couple of weeks. Obviously, I was out in Japan, helping Craig and James only 2 weekends ago. So I'm with the Historics next weekend. I probably won't sink in till Monte Carlo next year when I'm not in the start line. That'll probably when the retirement really kicks in. But definitely a bit of weight off my shoulders and a bit of pressure off and a bit more relaxed. Obviously, I don't have to be prepping for Monte or getting notes organised or getting ready for a test in December, where it usually happens either in Sweden or Monte. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far, and a bit of home life and a bit of time with the family and kids is good as well. But we'll see what the future brings.
Yeah, you're gonna have a proper Christmas this year anyway, so I'm sure you're looking forward to that. But it was no surprise that shortly after the retirement news came, you announced you're jumping back in with Craig for Killarney. I think we did see that one coming now. But are you looking forward to next weekend and your home rally really?
Yeah, I'm obviously really looking forward to it. And when I decided to call time on my World Championship career, I always wanted to do other things and do bits and pieces. And I always said to Craig, we'll do what we can in Ireland when he's not too busy in the World Championship or any other events around the world. So obviously the Historics is my home rally, and I've won it last year. And Craig had the Frank Marr car in the garage with the last couple of years, rebuilding it and putting it back to the specification it was in the 1992 Circuit of Ireland, and it's eligible for the rally. And no better place to bring it is to Killarney and to go up Malls Gap in that car. And I was just looking there. I'm very going up Malls Gap any time of the year in any rally car is nice, but to be up there in a BDA and back in 2019, I'm up there in the Metro as well, and 6R4 and M3 last year. Now in the 2-door Sierra, like they're iconic cars, and it's going to be a special moment again next weekend to be in a famous car like the Sierra. And it'll be interesting. That it's massive brake horsepower. I haven't even seen the car. Craig hasn't even tested it yet. It's still in its fine tuning the whole car to get it ready for the rally. So we'll probably first taste of it will be up Malls Gap on Saturday week.
Yeah. I know you've answered my next question. You've took on Malls Gap now in a serious string of bucket list cars, but I guess maybe one of the first ones was that Opel Kadett a good few years ago now. But even back then, could you ever believe where you would be in 20 years' time and competing with a driver like Craig and so many brilliant historic cars?
Yeah, he obviously started with Kieran in the Kadett, and I think Eugene Donnelly in the G3, and a couple of years in the Group N Subarus with Donny Sullivan and Alan Ring, and a couple of World Rally cars as well with Donny, and obviously in 19 as well in Killarney, the main rally. We were Craig in the Fiesta, and we won there as well, and with Chris in the Clio as well, the Black Clio in 2008, where kick-started Chris's career as well back in 2008, would you believe? So I've been up the gap, and probably some fantastic machinery, and probably don't appreciate what cars I've gone up there, and maybe when the retirement settles in a bit more, I'll look back on all those. But yeah, it's come a long road from 1996, my first ever event to the historic rallies with my best mate. We were handing out the sandwiches and got a first taste of closed road rallying, and to come full circle 26 years later, after being in the World Championship and having the success in the World Championship I had, to come all the way around back to where it is now next weekend. Feels right, that I have retired from the World Championship, and possibly this weekend with Craig, he'll be busy in the World Championship the next couple of years, so it could be my last for a while.
Yeah. And again, you've said it there, the full circle of rallying. Like you were there when the historic rally started. It was as close as it ever could be, and being away and at the top of WRC, winning world rallies and coming back to your home event, and I guess seeing it so running in the same way with the core organisers and the volunteers and the whole community atmosphere. Is that just nice to have still at this stage in your career, and seeing how big rallying still is in Killarney?
Yeah, I got into the sport because it was my dad was the founder of the historic rally, and I was a teenager back then, and a couple of years before the rally was ever put in the ground, we were working away behind the scenes and marshalling everywhere and doing stage stops and arrivals and whatever you had to do to go marshalling and get the support for the historic rally. And it's got harder and harder every year now since, and I see the work and effort the team put in now to run a rally, and it's a massive kickstart for the Christmas in Killarney for Killarney tourism, and it's a great boost for anyone. And we see with the entry list this year again, the biggest problem they have is sending a lot of people home, possibly with 60, 70 reserves. That's such strong entry there, and it looks like the historic list is getting busier and busier every year. We've 70 odd cars, I think, this year. Like in the very first year. 1 second, sorry. The first year was only 103 cars altogether, so it's grown and grown and grown, and it's known all over the UK and Ireland now to be a rally to go in if you have one of these historic cars, and then you look at the modifieds at the back with all the Millingtons and all these boys are going super quick as well, and it looks like that is going to be a huge battle in both sides. Obviously, it'll be ourselves, Alan Ring and you could Johnny Greer, a few more. Obviously, hopefully the couple stay local in the modifieds. We don't have Rob this year or Colin, so I think it'll be a big battle north of the border. We have a couple of locals here that could spring a surprise. So it looks like the town is booked out. There isn't a bed to be got here for the rally, and the work that the Killarney people and the Motor Club have done is incredible. To take this rally only 6 or 8 weeks ago to get off the ground and have it up and running. And I have to mention Mike Mahoney as well from Rentokil. He's put in huge effort down through the years and the continuous support. He always gets the lead drivers and adds an extra buzz to the rally with the support, and to have that sponsorship is huge behind the scenes as well to what he does, and he doesn't get half the credit probably he deserves. But for us competitors to have a show put on by the club and have the sponsors there, it's a privilege to start on the start line of Maltgap on Saturday week.
Yeah, it's going to be another special show this year. Even looking back to last year, you entered the rally with Craig as favourites, and having ticked the international win off in 2019, was it special again to win the historic rally and everything it means to your family as well?
For sure it is. Like, obviously my dad's cup, I needed to win it at some stage in my career, and to win Killarney in 19 was very important as well, and last year was special. We had a fantastic car, and Craig has the ability to win at any level, and I always put pressure on him. He's always under pressure every time he comes to Killarney to do a rally, because he is the favourite for the rally, and he's the favourite again in 2 weeks' time. But it'll be different in a two-wheel drive here with 400 brake horsepower trying to put it down a wet road. But and there'll be a few four-wheel drive cars will have a thing or two to say about it. But look, you expect to win it, and we are going to go and try and win it. But it's about enjoyment as well. It's been a difficult year, and it's been a hard year on Craig and a hard year on myself as well. And we need a bit of enjoyment back in the sport, and there's no better place to come and enjoy and go racing all the locals and racing all the Irish people, because there's great atmosphere in the historic rally. There's great buzz around for the weekend, and so we all seem to get on, gel well together, and it's a nice compact rally, and yeah, hopefully it'll go our way.
Yeah. And in terms of jumping from WRC to this, I guess when you're in the car, do you enjoy it that bit more, or is the competitive edge and that sort of nervous excitement always there, no matter if you're in a Rally 1 car or a Ford Escort or a Ford Sierra?
You'll still have that competitive nervousness in your but when I'm at home rallies here, anything around Killarney, any rallies at Killarney, I'm always a bit edgy anyway. But we're here to enjoy ourselves. As I said, the World Championships are different. different kettle of fish. It's high intensity, high pressure, a lot of expectations, a lot of people depend on the results out in the World Championship here. We're going to have to enjoy ourselves and try and put on a show, and big crowds coming down, and to showcase an absolutely iconic car as well that hasn't been seen on Irish style in a long time. So that'll be something special as well.
Yeah, no, I've no doubt you and Craig will enjoy Moll's Gap and Balak Bema and that Ford Sierra, such an iconic car on what looks to be a brilliant rally, and we'll all enjoy watching you too. So hope you have a great rally, and thanks for joining us, Paul. Appreciate you taking the time.
No bother. Cheers, Adam.